Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experiences, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Mike Kane, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Chris Zart, general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it.
Well, welcome. We're so glad to have Sonia Arkkelin from Whiteboard of Photography.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And we just came off a wedding. Like, I didn't plan it that way, but it was kind of perfect.
I know, we did. I was like, see you Tuesday.
Yeah. Beautiful sandy pies.
Yeah.
Gorgeous weather.
Oh, yeah.
Anything
It was perfect.
immediately memories that you have from that you share with the listeners?
I mean, honestly, like this, like about that specific wedding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Or the venue, whatever you want,
That wedding, like the bride and the groom, which is like, I'm all about the peeps that I book. They were so sweet to each other. Like the way they loved each other was so selfless. I love, like the bride and I just connected as soon as we met. She actually started following me on Instagram years ago. Probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And I would get all these notifications all the time. Emily liked your post. Emily liked your post. And she would say, like, someday when I get married, it's going to be you. And I'm like, okay, And so then she's like, I think we're getting close to getting engaged, so I'm going to go ahead and book you.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
So she booked me like 2 years ago before they were ever engaged. And like we just hit it off. And, she loves like the earth and so do I. And
you posted that photo. She's barefoot.
she's barefoot.
Just enjoying. Like there's nothing
at
between her and the
whole
ground.
ceremony. Oh my gosh. I just love it. Like I love shooting barefoot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it just connects me.
Yes. Well, and they picked the perfect venue for that. It's just a lot of nature.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Super gorgeous.
Yeah. We had a good time.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. That
Yeah.
like I've never had that, where people like kind of fanboy me. Like
Maybe someday, Mike.
but it's the difference between you're creating art and you're playing other people's art. We play other people's art. I don't write any of the songs. I have some re-edits that I've done, but come on. And I did, for that wedding, I did 2 re-edits. I did a custom mashup for the father-daughter dance where the Coolio came in.
That was so
Sorry I didn't tell you, by the way.
fun. Oh, no. Like, we just went with it, and I was like, yes.
I whispered to
this
Nathan.
Is
I was
what's
like,
up. It was so much fun. Like, I love when people think outside the box, do something kind of weird.
Yes.
And like her dad like put his hat on backwards. And he's like, he was getting down like the John Deere hat.
I love the trend of dads wearing hats. Especially it's like back when they have the baseball and then they turn it backwards when it's time to dance. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
It's a little flourish, a little personality.
Yeah.
It doesn't overtake. They're still wearing the suit. They still look great,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Little personality. Like, you can take the man out of the field, the cornfield, but you can't take him out,
Well, when he did his first look with her, like apparently this was like a thing. I don't know if it was just her, like her sisters too, but he was always in his like grubby dad wear for like all their proms. Like he would just come in, take a picture, whatever. So she's like, I want you in like your essence when we do our first look. Like, so bride and dad. And so he came walking in like a John Deere hat and a stained shirt, like it had paint on it, and like these old jeans and Crocs. And I was like, can I adopt him? Like, can he be my dad too? Like, this guy's cool. So it was really sweet. Like, I just love that they made it about who they are.
Yes.
And
That's the best thing you can do.
that.
When you know who you are, you know what you want. Just be
Yeah.
that. Don't be something else. And,
Yeah.
oh, I love that. That's so fun.
It was a good time. That party was hopping.
It was crazy.
It was wild.
And beautiful weather. Like it
Yeah.
really went really well.
Yeah.
So Whiteboard of Photography.
Yeah.
How did you get started? Tell us a little bit about that whole process.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I have literally loved like images, like all mediums of art since I was a kid. Like I remember sitting at my little table with my chair coloring like my circle people, with the sticks.
Yes.
And I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to be an artist someday. And she's like, yes, you are. And so like I've always, and then she would whip out like this giant camcorder, you know, because like that's what we did in the 80s because I'm really old. And I was obsessed with it. Like I always like wanted to see what she was doing. And I'm like, I want to watch, I want to take the video. You know, I was so annoying in all our family videos. Like, let me see.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was just like enamored with like I love all art, whether it is like, especially like the wedding industry, whether it's, you know, you're DJing, cake, florist, all of that is art. Like we are all like using our own gift in the way we see it and trying to
Creative
make things.
expression.
Yeah, like I love all of it. All of it has a place. And so, but I like connected with video and photo. And what really tapped me or dialed me into like the imagery side of it was like we didn't have like a lot of pictures of things around, but I saw one of my parents' wedding photos. And it was like, you know, 1983 and like camera quality wasn't all that great and stuff, and I think they actually had like just some random friend take their pictures. So like I think they only ended up getting back like 5 of them. Oh, no. It was so bad.
That was one of the ones.
That was one of them. But like I remember looking at their faces and like seeing like how happy they were. And like then most of your photographs were posed. And this was like this moment where they're coming back down the aisle and like they just got married. Like that's like the happiest you'll be on your wedding day right there, because all of your friends and family are cheering for you. You know, they're all watching you, Mr. and Mrs., you know, and they're like coming back down the aisle and it's just like, it's an electric moment. Like you can't help but just like succumb to the joy that's existing in
gleaming,
that space.
glowing, ear to ear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like my favorite moment of the day. So that when I saw that image as a kid, I was like, I love pictures. So, you know, and it was like a long progression from there. Like my husband got me my first digital camera. It was like a little Fuji, like point and shoot, you know? And I was like, I really like this, and ended up investing in more gear. And somebody was like, you know, like you're pretty good at taking pictures. And they were really bad, like really bad. But like, you know, I could make the background blurry. So people are like, man, she knows what's going on. Did not. And so like, then somebody's like, you know, I'll pay you to take pictures of my family. And I'm like, okay, like how's like, you know, $25? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And so, but like I went on those shoots and like started doing a bunch of free stuff so I could learn my craft. And I was like, okay, no, I like this. Like I wouldn't pose them. I would like, we would do certain things, like go for a walk, or like it was very documentary, but that's what I loved. I loved like that genuine personality that was like coming out within people when you are giving them like the space to kind of be who they are. And yeah, I was like, I need to get better at this so people like better at posing so people like feel good in it too. Like
feel like themselves.
Yeah. And like, so I can facilitate like that same environment when people are not comfortable in front of the camera. Like it's one thing to be like, hey, like you love taking pictures. Let's go for a walk.
Yes.
You know, and
they're
people are like,
they're
yes,
immediately like,
yes.
They know exactly
Yeah,
what to.
exactly.
Oh, me? I just put this on.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about this. And then, you know, but like I have to be able to recreate that. I had to learn to do that with people who are like me. Who are like, I hate being in front of the camera.
I've not thought about that. There is a directing element to it.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you are your most you at this moment.
Yeah.
You're beautiful. The light is perfect. And click. Like the camera's almost like kind of a secretive.
Yeah.
Like, so they don't change anything. Let's set up this perfect moment to grab you exactly in your essence. And then I don't think about that. Like, there's a lot of directing that goes into it.
There is. And like, I always tell my clients, like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, cause I do family photography too. Like there's a lot going on up here that you have no idea like about, like, you know, like I'm literally thinking it through like a process. Like I have this like method that works for me to, you know, get out of you what we're both after. So, yeah, like there's actually like some psychology going on.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And a plan. And like it comes from experience, but
Yeah.
also comes from you.
Yeah, it probably looks like, I always tell people, you're sometimes you're gonna probably be like, well, what exactly is happening right now? And I'm like, but it's all like part of it. So yeah, the experience.
In DJing, there's a moment when I know I've got them. I'm playing that song and I know they're gonna love this next one. Like I've got them. And it just all of it comes together. Me, my experience, the crowd, and that has to happen. And I'm asking, does it happen as a photographer when you're like, I'm excited to see this photo later, like in edit. Like I just can't wait to get home.
Absolutely. People always tell me that, like, I'll like flip a switch, like all of a sudden I'm like, are you mad? I'm like, no. This just like, my soul just left my body when I saw what I just saw happen. So yeah, that definitely happens.
This one's going on the website.
Yeah,
this
like,
one's
like you guys, you just made like history with your faces and you don't know. So
I try to tell people, I was like, I do this all the time. This is a good wedding. Like I'll tell them, you know.
Yeah, and you say that.
You say that to all the weddings, you know.
Well, sometimes
I do.
But
I flirt with a lot of the dance
you
floors.
have to. You have to.
I don't want them to think I'm not interested, but
I know,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Oh, I love that. I love that. There's such that artistic element to it. There's that planning element, and then of course there's like everything else that happens that you're adapting to as you're going.
Right.
For couples that are like looking for photographers and advice, like what advice kind of would you give for couples to?
Yeah, like somebody that maybe hasn't booked,
or yeah,
like
sure.
looking.
Start there. It hasn't.
I would say like one thing that I usually start, because I require consults to book. You can't just book a wedding online and then, you know, we go forward. Something that I always tell my people, like, you know, you've got to me, but like, let's confirm what it is you're looking for. You know, some people don't always have the right words. They're like, well, I like this, but they don't know how to like communicate that. I'm sure you've like experienced some of that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say like, make sure you know, like really narrow down what it is you're looking for. So browse Pinterest, check out Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. Facebook, because I'm old. But like know what kind of style you're after, you know, like, and that's everything from.
So they like save all the photos and they can show them to you, kind of thing.
They can if they don't have the right words.
Sure.
You know, like some people are like, no, I love the moody. I love all like the artsy light use and like the more they'll say candid photojournalistic documentary photography. Like they love all that. Some people are like, I just really like how this looks. And then they show me a picture. I'm like, yeah, so like what you're looking at, what you're talking about is this. So I would say like, make sure you know what you want. Do you want something brighter and airier? Do you want something like moodier? Do you want like more like posed portraiture? Are you looking for something that does look more relaxed, you know? So like and that goes for video too.
Yeah.
Like each videographer, each photographer has, I mean, anybody really has like a way that they make their art, and like the way we see the world is all different. It's all unique to us. And I think that we like transfer who we are into our art and make it that way. So you have to make sure like what you want is what your artist is doing. Yeah. Like the way they tell their stories that they are interpreting and is how you think too. Yeah. Right. So I think that's super important. that helps like narrow down your search and what you're looking for. A couple other like big things that like just logistic wise, like ask to see full galleries. Like don't
Full day, yeah.
Yeah. Don't just look at the Instagram feed and be like, oh man, their pictures are so good. Cause that's like 2 images of a wedding. And there's probably like 1,200 other images from that same wedding. Like you should see what they look like from start to finish. So that shouldn't be an issue. Also, like, how do you back up?
Oh, what's your process, your logistics
images?
for?
Yeah, that is super important. Like, we're trusted with people's one-time day. Yeah, that's so important that you've done your research, that you know how to keep these things safe, and
Yeah, and take it seriously as a professional versus
Absolutely.
So they're just going to show up. Oh no, I only had the one SD card. I reused it. You know what?
Well, not even that, but like corrupt cards. Like,
yeah.
oh, what's that?
Yeah.
You know,
It's so I've never had that experience before. Yeah. It's kind of like with us. Like, what do you mean you can't play music? That's the whole thing I'm paying you for.
Right.
You know,
and you don't get to do it over.
No, you don't.
No.
You get one shot. Yeah.
No.
If I can't DJ and throw a dance floor that night, that's it.
Right.
Everybody's there. So I gotta be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
I would hope so.
I have. We always
Right.
have. You know, battery speakers. Whatever. You have backups. You have people.
Oh yeah.
You get the.
Because stuff goes wrong, and it's not always like, oh, you know, you weren't good at what you did.
Yeah.
Or you did it poorly, or like whatever. I mean, technology just can be like just a fickle mistress sometimes. And so, yeah, you have to just kind of, you have to have like some insurance.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Every professional we've had on this podcast has said a similar thing.
Yeah.
Where get to know this person. You're going to spend a lot of time with them. Make sure it's a good fit with what you spend some time planning what you want.
Yep.
If you narrow it down, get to know them, meet them before ever booking, ask good questions, and make sure it's a good fit, because they are a person too, and they have their art, and they're going to deliver, and they're going to be with you all day.
Yeah.
Doing this. Make sure that you vibe with them, that you like their style, that you want what they are offering, because it is an individual, distinct thing. I say the same thing as a DJ. Meet with them, get to know them. Maybe we're the right fit, maybe we're not. Any professional is going to be like, I want you to have a great wedding, even if it's not with me.
Correct.
Because there's other people that, you know, once you book me, I'm going to be there. I'm all in. And if this is not a good thing, there could be someone else that I'd be a better fit with, and there could be someone for you that would be a better fit.
Well, that's community over competition.
Yes.
Which is huge.
An abundance mindset, you know.
Yeah. Like there's plenty of fish in the sea. Yeah. There's plenty of like different wedding vendors, artists like that do things differently. So like, let's find what you want. And I have no qualms with somebody being like, I want something like this. And that's not really what I do. Yeah. I will send you to somebody that does what you want.
Yes. Yes.
That's fine.
Be a better fit, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And ultimately we want that to go well. We want that to go well for you.
Yeah.
And honestly, if this is the only life we live, we have very few weddings that I can do. I'd much rather be working with a couple who gets what I do and loves it and appreciates it, rather than tries to get me to be something I'm not and do something I don't do. Yeah. You know?
Can you just like say that for me? Because that was really good.
If they've already booked a photographer,
yeah,
how can they get the most out of that experience? What advice would you give them as part of that planning meetings, day of, things they can communicate and prepare to communicate with their photographer to get the best out of that experience?
Yeah. You know, like the thing that came to mind right away, it was so funny. One of my brides, she like, I would ask her, you know, like on her wedding day, like, well, you know, what do you think about this? Or like, and she'd just go, in Sonia we trust.
That's
like,
good.
Okay.
That's a good line.
So she branded it, and I would say like trust your professionals that you've hired. Like fully trust them. If you are like you've hired them to do a job, so let them do it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry about it. like, you know, definitely communicate and advocate for like what you want, but yeah, trust that they've got your back. Like, if you can't trust your small business owners that you've hired to like pull off the wedding of your dreams, then maybe you should hire somebody else.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important, just to fully trust your vendors that you've hired. The other thing is like really being willing to like hear out your photographer's opinion or thoughts on your timeline. That's big. You know, a lot of times your wedding coordinator, most times they don't know how long certain shots take. And, you know, like somebody's planning their wedding. This is probably their first or so wedding. But like I do this like so many times every year.
Yes.
So I'm like, I have like some input, you know, so when you're like planning that timeline out, like, yes, I want what you want.
Yeah.
100%. But like, let me like weigh in on something. Like, so when my brides hear me out and they're like, oh yeah, I did not think about that, you know, versus like just pushing through and trying to like make things happen, that you're like, that's not going to flow. Like, that's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen.
We call it, it's not going to go the way you think. That's what we say on the podcast.
It's not going to go the way you think.
It's not going to go the way.
I know you've got this like vision in your head, but that's not going to vibe like you want it to.
We do this all the time. You've done this once, you know, typically, or they've been to a few, but, you know, we do this every weekend and sometimes multiple times.
Right.
And you see a lot. You see the good, the bad, the ugly, and we always want the best.
Yeah.
And the only reason we're advising something different than maybe be in line with what your original vision is because we have that insider experience, that knowledge that we can come alongside you and collaborate with you. Okay, you want this shot, you want this dance floor. When you said this, I'm worried that won't happen. And as an experienced professional, that's what you're paying me for. I'm going to tell you that it's not going to go the way you think. Now, I don't always use that phrase, but I'm trying to collaborate with them. And the weddings where there's that back and forth where they listen, and I listen to them, I really get a good idea of their vision, and I help in part of that planning process. It always goes way more smoothly. It's a way better party. And the day of, they can actually enjoy the day. They're not so focused on the plan being executed. They can relax and enjoy that plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Do you have any moments like that that come to mind? It's not going to go the way you think, just off the top of your head, or
I mean,
come up on a frequent basis. You know, people ask for something, and you're like,
you know, not really, because like part of my like process is like I consider myself to be like an excellent like vibrator, like.
Yeah.
Like I just know who people are when I meet them. So, you know, most of my peeps, like they are my peeps. Like they're my kind of people.
If they've gotten through all the way and you've met with them and they've booked, then it's like, okay, they've passed
they're
past
like,
the vibe checks.
Sonia we trust.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, most of the time they're like, whatever you think. And I'm like, great. I'm going to give you the best possible thing I can. You know, but like occasionally there'll be like a photo that they want done, you know, but I mean, like at the same time, sometimes it's like a lighting thing. Like, hey, actually what you seem to really like about the image is like the way the light is. So like we can try to do something like that. It's not going to be exactly this, but
yeah, like basically what you're saying, I know what you like, and I think this is what it is.
Yeah, it's some of that, but also like I care so much about my clients. Like I really do. That if they show me something that they want, even if I'm like, I don't know, like I'm going to find a way to
try to make it happen.
To make that happen because that's what they want. And it's their one day.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in. 100%.
Anything, I guess, what do you love? What do you love about, we've talked a little bit about it, but anything specifically about shooting weddings, meeting with couples, editing, all of it? What are the things that...
I would, like, I care about my people a lot. So like when I don't take lightly when I like sign on to take someone to like document them. Like my husband says like to a fault, I become like so invested. Like I want to know what's going on in your life, you know, like what's happening with you matters to me. Like it's next level. But I love being in such like an intimate space with my clients. So, you know, like all those little moments, like this is their big day, right? And say they do a first look. So they want to see each other, like have a private moment before the ceremony. I always take the groom out, get him set up where I want, you know, and I'm like, hey, just like take a minute. Like this is your moment where you get to see your bride, and like we don't have to rush. It's okay. Like you can hug her, you can give her a kiss, you can talk to her. Like it's okay to be funny. Like we're not here. Like this is just you guys. And they like almost always cry when I'm like saying that because they're so excited. But like that's such like a vulnerable state, you know? Like I'm so honored to be invited in that, and for people to be like, yeah, I'm comfortable enough with her to like to let my guard down like that. And yeah, there's that, and you know, a lot happens on a wedding day.
Hey, you are
a lot happens.
I mean, you are a director, but you're also kind of like a doula. Like you're right
Yes.
there
That
at the
is
moment
a
of birth.
Really, really great
Analogy.
yes.
You are.
Thing. Like,
it's,
yes.
It's so intimate. It's so special.
Yes.
You feel.
But you're like a psychologist.
Yes.
You're like the runner. You're
teacher, yeah.
The teacher. You're doing everything.
And you're there to capture it so they can
Yes.
remember it later.
Yes.
They can immerse themselves in that memory.
So fully in that. Like I am like all encompassing. When I come in, I'm like, come here, my baby. Like mama's here now. So yeah, you know, and then you get like this stuff. It's like the family drama can be hard.
Yeah.
And tensions are high. And like, yeah, I have sat with many a bride.
And there's so many like just crazy things that get thrown in, like that are insane,
yeah.
that are changes that are, you can't account for, and
Sure.
dinner's late, and there's this, and
Yep.
by the way, we want to get a photo with everyone from high school, you know, at the last second. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That
we know
stuff
you're past time, but can you stay and take
happens. Yes. For sure.
Speaking on those things, what are some challenges that you experience that maybe, you know, you wish people knew about as a photographer?
You mean like on the job?
Sure. Or yeah, whatever. As a small business owner, any of it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like there's like two schools of thought, I guess, for me. Like there's on the job, which is like the tip of the iceberg of what I do, like is actually being on the job.
Yeah,
And
the
then
actual day of shooting
is like all the editing and, you know, all the stuff that you're like, I'm going to be a photographer and it's going to be so glamorous and I'm going to like be so cool and take all these pictures. Yeah. And then you're like holed up in sweatpants for like 4 days editing a wedding.
I haven't eaten in 16
I know,
hours.
And you're like, you have like that shining look on your face. Yeah.
My feet are swollen. I need to sit.
Yes,
yeah.
that is correct. So like there's two different like thought processes with it, but like something that is super challenging being on the job is keeping things on time. So because a lot of it is out of my control.
It really is.
Most of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to play by a timeline that we've thought up, but then you've got like other stuff. Like we've had a groom that couldn't find his shoes one time and somebody had to run home and get them, or like, you know, hair and makeup will go long or like whatever.
Yeah.
But
weather doesn't cooperate. and,
yeah, like you
pushes
just
things back. Guests get there late. Transportation didn't pick up a bunch of people.
dinner didn't get served on time,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so like I'm always having to play catch up or like slow down or like do this. And so, you know, sometimes it's like, hey, you thought you'd have 45 minutes for this. You have 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, let's go. So it can be wild. Like,
Sun is setting.
yeah.
You know.
And like, yeah.
Run.
Like we just did. And so, it's just, it can be so insane. But like, I personally, I feel like, again, like I want to serve my clients so well that it isn't about me. And if my day's stressful, I don't care.
It's
like
part of the
whatever.
job.
Yeah. It's part of like, as long as you're happy, then I'm happy. And so, we may be running super late on time and I'm hearing like, Aunt Sally in the back of my ear, well, we should have been done already. And this is taking a really long time. And I'm like, it's okay.
Beautiful
like, we're
day.
fine. Yeah. Isn't she gorgeous? Like, so there's like a lot of that. So usually I come home and absolutely crash because I'm actually like an introvert. And so you do
Takes
that
a
all
lot out of you.
day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but I would say like on the other side of it, like balancing my work and home life is rough. That's super hard.
That's a long time. You have kids, you have children, right?
Yeah, I have 4 kiddos. So yeah, we have like a pretty like broad, I mean, we've got like one in junior high and then we've got Irish twins. Oh my gosh. 1 turned 3 just like a month ago. And yeah, I mean, they are like literally thing 1 and thing 2 from The Cat in the Hat. So yeah, like that, balancing that is like, I'm so passionate about like moms in business, like especially moms like running their own photography business. Like every mom I talk to who's a photographer or a videographer, like their mental health's in the toilet.
Oh.
Seriously though,
Oh,
because
wow.
we invest so much of what we do into everything else that like learning that that self-care is important and that that balance, the work and home life balance is so important.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, you're give. And then Saturday, Sunday, whatever, for weddings, give.
Go.
And
Yeah.
then there's no time for sleep, recharge.
Well, see,
nothing for...
that's where like that needs to change. Like I'm not glamorizing the grind anymore.
Sure.
Like I'm going to get my sleep. I'm going to spend time with the sun on my face, but I'm going to get my work done too.
Yeah.
So like, I have a little bit longer turnaround times, but it's because I have 4 babies and because they're so important to me, but so are my clients. So, if I got to like take an extra 3 weeks longer than,
And you do
photography.
You do some of the photographers that I've seen doing lately. By like Monday, you'll have like 4, 5, 6 photos ready to go. You've already posted them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you're shooting those? Do you know that like, or is it when you go back and look?
I mean, I don't know what most people do. Like when I'm shooting, I am thinking that like, yeah, this is probably one I'll use. So I kind of like narrow it down in my head. And then I usually go home that night and post.
I was going to say some of those posted like right away. I think it was a Sunday I saw them. I was like, these are awesome. Like right away.
But what I do is like, because, you have to sit up till they're all backed up. Wow. So you're just sitting there for a long time. And I'm like, I already know kind of where I'm looking. So I grab up, 5 images or so. And I'm like, I know those are ones I want to use and, edit them while I'm backing them up. And
I don't have anything like that post wedding. I'm so blessed and lucky to when I'm done, in terms of the actual work I do.
When I'm done, then we're just getting started. So it's like, okay.
A lot of people don't understand that. They think like, there's weeks, hours, lots of work ahead.
I know. I was like laughing about it because one thing my husband and I were talking about when we were like going through questions and stuff. He's like, really like your biggest challenge is like finding a chiropractor who will actually keep you. And I was like, that is so true. Because my body's a mess. Oh, no. Like, the shoulders and the back. I mean, there's plenty of challenges.
Having 4 kids and being on your feet all day, every day.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's so insane. We just had a baby a month ago and we are not sleeping. Oh, thanks. She's the best.
Oh, you're so tired.
She's adorable. But, it's tough. But my wife is always like, when I'm talking about that, like, this is serious. How it affects your body, affects everything about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough cannot be said about moms and what they do.
I know. Moms are like literally the strongest people I know. Yes. And then you see like wedding photographers, wedding videographers, like anybody in the wedding industry, like they are like tough as nails. Yeah. Because you have to be.
Yes.
And so, like, you combine those 2 things, and I'm like, the people that I respect the most are the people who are out there momming and doing doing the wedding industry thing.
I would not
Yeah.
mess with a mom, especially when
shouldn't.
you're getting in the way of them and their cub.
Oh gosh.
You know?
Yeah. And like on wedding day, like these are my babies.
Yes. And you and I have had several moments where weird things have happened, either the venue or a guest was just something was off. And I saw that your mom energy came out and was like, no, this is not good.
That's not happening.
And I'm so glad all those moments you and I have connected on that. And I was able to, I was like,
you were actually
I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can step in. And we had that one where the guest was being super inappropriate and creepy with your second shooter. And I was like, do we need to like walk, like, let me just walk you to your car. Like, this is so, it was so inappropriate.
Yeah.
And there was one where the venue was like, or the catering was like, oh yeah, tell them don't worry about photos or whatever. Like, and I was just like, oh no, that's really serious. I need to talk to Sonia about that because that's really serious.
Yeah.
This one thing is really important to this couple. Like,
right.
You know.
Well, I mean, that was like their whole
portrait
time.
Yes,
that's all they were getting.
Yes.
So
I was
like, no, I think they do want pictures of them on their own wedding day. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're going to get some pushback.
You can
here.
ask them if you want to, but.
Advice you have for other wedding vendors working with good or bad or things they should do. Or I always love to ask, what do DJs do that annoy you guys? That is just like, oh, I wish they didn't do this.
I mean, I don't let a lot of things bother me. So, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, just be good to the couple. Be good to the family. Be professional and prepared. Like, you know, everybody makes mistakes. You know, DJ, like, cues up a song late or, you know, it happens. But, like, don't be a jerk. So, I don't know. I think that's, I don't let a lot ruffle my feathers. So, you know, even a videographer, like, gets in front of me, I'm like, it's fine. Like, we're all trying to work around each other.
Yeah.
And make the best possible thing for people. Like, just have to be flexible and be a team. So, yeah. But I think actually, no. I do get a little miffed when people think it's about them, specifically vendors.
Yes.
But also, like, this is like calling out some bridal parties and families of the bride and groom.
Yeah.
Like this, I cannot say it any clearer. This ain't about you. Like, it's not. Don't make it about you. So, like, it's about them. They're one day. We are literally all here because of them. And I would just say, like, to vendors, like, be humble. Don't make it about you. Who cares if you got to work super hard? You miss dinner. It's going to happen sometimes. Like, you'll be okay.
Yeah. You're there to do a job.
Yeah.
You're there. DJs we talk about, you're there to throw a party, not be the party.
Correct.
It's not about you.
It's not. And I do think that there are some people in the wedding industry that have forgotten that because you do it every weekend, multiple times a weekend sometimes. And, you know, I think you can lose sight that this is their thing. Yeah. This is their celebration.
There is that healthy balance of, I'm confident, I'm experienced, I know what to do. I have instinct about it. And so I know the best thing, but it also, you're the expert on you and what you want and your priorities. And so I need to really listen and be humble and be willing to adapt what I think is best to what is going to be best for you and this plan. That's not an easy thing to do, and that takes time and experience.
Yeah, I think it does. Like, when I first was like starting in weddings, like I've been doing this for almost 14 years now.
About 15 myself. So
yeah. It's so crazy. And like I had like a strong opinion on first looks, you know, where like the bride and groom see each other prior to the ceremony. I had like a really strong opinion on that because I'm like, it's easier for your schedule to do that. But like, now that I've been doing this a long time, I'm like, you know, I want it to be whatever experience you want it to be. And like, here's some facts, like, you know, some real talk about doing it either way. Here's what I like about both. Because I've done a lot So I've seen a lot, and here's the feedback I've gotten. But like, make an informed decision based on what you want. Like, so what if I got to run around like a chicken with my head cut off, all reception, like, to get all the shots you want? I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm there to do whatever it is that you like. So, yeah.
It's so interesting. Like, people think they're going to a wedding and like, oh, I need to have a good time. It's about me. And so let me, make sure that I, get my drinks, my food, make sure the DJ plays my song. And we keep repeatedly talking about this on the podcast, that the best thing you can do is be a good guest. And the best thing you can do is, it's not about you. Be all in. Be willing to dance to songs you don't like, you don't want. Be willing to eat food, whatever, and communicate to the couple all positives. Don't go to them with your complaints. Yeah. This is their day. They're planning.
Yes.
Save it for after if they ask, but don't,
it's not
don't ruin their
about
day.
You. Yeah, I went through like a string of like rough bridal parties where I'm just like, why are they here? Because like, this is supposed to be like your people, and you're here to like celebrate them and support them in any way that they need. This is not about you. Yeah. And it just drives me insane.
So many crazy things. It's so wild. They're like in a fight with their significant other, and it just becomes a drama thing about that fight, not about the wedding, or like they're upset that something didn't go the way they wanted to. Or what drives me nuts as a DJ, and I'm trying to keep on the timeline, is like somebody who's drunk or missing, and they're just never where they're supposed to be. They're not
right.
They don't realize that when you're in a bridal party, you're there to do a job too, which is pose for photos, to assist the bride and groom, and to help. The best ones are like asking the bride and groom, "Can I get you anything?" They're like their runner, their person.
I've had some great bridal parties like that too. I'm like, you all are like the hype.
Yeah,
I love this. Like, I love this support you guys are showing. Like. And not just like the bridesmaids, the groomsmen too. Yeah. Can be like just as incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Or
they can be just very difficult. They disappear. They're not wearing, they immediately take off the clothes they're supposed to be wearing.
There's that, I mean, like all the relational dynamics, just everything. So.
Any wild things you've experienced? Fun memories, crazy moments that.
Yes. So, just as like a precursor, I actually got permission from both brides. I'm like, is this okay? Because I know that this was pretty rocky. Would you be okay if I talked about this? And they're like, yes. Like, we actually laugh about it now. I'm like, okay, good. Good. Because my PTSD is still hanging out and I'm not okay. But yeah, I love that for you. So this last year, I had, like, it topped the charts that this was like the worst wedding experience I had ever had. Literally one of my favorite brides and grooms, like just the sweetest people. But I show up and did a wedding in Chicago, and I'm like, this is gonna be great, beautiful venue, like coordinators on it, like this is gonna be sweet. And we're having a blast, like do the detail shots, and I go like hang the dress back up, and then somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, like I took the dress out. Did you see that like black spot on the dress? I'm like doing other details. I'm like, I like don't even know what you're talking about. And so we go back over there, and I like look up, and like my soul leaves my body, and there's a black smudge down the entire front of like this big. The bride's satin white dress. And I'm like when I say my soul left my body, like I think the blood drained from my face and my whole body. Like I thought I was going to throw up. I'm like, what just happened? So that was like the absolute worst. But you get the best bridal party in a situation like that. Like they were like, me and mom and the coordinator took the dress back, and We got, she got out her Tide pen, and we're doing all the things. We've got the music cranked up in the bridal suite, so she's like has no idea. We've like a hair dryer down there and trying to like air dry this dress, and it's not working. And so I'm like, okay. I learned from a fellow photog. This is a shout out to Kayla. Like Blue Dawn dish soap and cold water. I was like, go get this. Let's try and like get it out. So, and that ended up working for the most part. You could still kind of tell that there was something there.
Brought it down enough to
some
where
slight discoloration.
Wow.
But I mean, from a black smudge
Oh my goodness.
to that was like pretty good.
That is so
So, and everyone was like, we're not gonna like bring it up. We're just gonna let this ride. And we got through all the portraits, and we're doing like the wedding party photos, and she just looks down. She's like, "What's that?" And everyone's like, what are you talking about? So, we gave her a minute to regroup. Like,
Process what's going on.
Like,
Yeah.
go have your moment. It's okay. Mom and her soon-to-be hubs went with her, and I like looked at the bridesmaids. I'm like, get a bottle of Tito's, get all her music that she likes, and we are going to hype her. She is not going to have a choice but to like be able to come back from this, and she did. Had a great day, but that was like, I was like shaking on the drive home. Still, I was like unwell, and it was not me that did it, by the way.
Yeah.
Somebody like fessed up to it.
Okay, good. I was like,
yeah, it was not great. That was not great. So that was like something like that. I mean, that's like a big deal.
yeah.
But I did have another wedding. Yes. Like, can we talk about toast really quick?
Yes, of course. Yes, please.
Can you just talk about the couple? Like, oh my gosh, you bring out the best in each other. Here's what I love. That compliments each other, like stuff like that. Quit telling these super long inside stories that nobody gets. And
it ruins weddings. It ruins weddings.
So, I mean, most of the guests just sit there and they're like, is this done yet? Like,
any energy that everyone had is gone.
Yeah, it kind of like, I
want to go
lets
home
all
now,
the
please.
air out of the room. Yeah. So, and you give a groomsman or a bridesmaid enough liquid courage, and they're probably going to say some things that maybe they shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
So I had this wedding last year. And so like there was a bit of an age difference with the bride and the groom. And apparently they had started dating when she was like fairly young. That was like a point of contention in the family. So the best man like thought this is a great time to just unload about how they used to like secretly get together. And her dad's like, I mean, he did not cut back. He's like, I would come home, from a weekend and find hairs in the bed and all. It was awful. Her face, I'm like, do I need to save her right now? Like, somebody cut this guy's mic.
Oh my goodness.
It was so bad.
Oh.
It was awful. I'm like,
so
you shouldn't be
cringy.
saying this. And he's just like saying everything. Like,
he didn't write that one out and prepare that one.
Oh, no. He let Tito's take the wheel, and he was like, okay, I'm just going to royally wreck this.
Makes it about him. He thinks it's funny or interesting.
Yeah,
or
he probably did think
loves to bully the
and maybe
groom or
like,
embarrass
it's
the bride.
something that they talked about, like would joke about privately between
Different.
them, but not in front of like 250 people, including her parents,
At their wedding.
Right. Like, let's keep it a little, like, I'm okay with being funny, but let's keep it a little bit classy. So.
We always say, like, because sometimes couples want us to open up the floor for speeches, which I'm like, do not do that.
Yeah, that's one of those
how you
things that
get
you're like,
these kind of
this
speeches.
is going to be amazing. And you're like, this isn't going to go how you think it's going to go.
And what you just said, too, is like, I call it, don't be that guy.
Mm.
That guy ruined that wedding, in my opinion. Like, I'm sure it still went
it
fine.
was fabulous.
But,
It was
like-
wonderful. But I think like after that moment, like we went out for like a couple more portraits because she had like a dress change and all that stuff. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was just kind of like, "Yeah," but like that sucked the air out of the room.
Yeah.
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 That was
Don't be that guy.
not that time. Not the time for that.
Do you have any don't be that guys? Any like things that for guests or people like, don't do that. Don't make it. Most of it it comes back to don't make it about you.
Yeah.
You're being selfish and egotistical in some way.
Yeah. That's really it.
That's like the
But
ultimate
I'm like,
one.
I guess I do kind of like one thing I'll say a lot is like, if you are not team bride and groom, then you cannot sit with me. Like, you can't come at me with like attitude or like whatever.
Oh, you mean like other vendors too, or like guests or
other
whoever?
vendors, guests, but don't be people like that.
Don't be a person where it's like this is now a therapy bitch session
Yeah.
about the couple
No.
at the wedding.
Yeah, please don't do that. That's terrible.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Or girl, whichever.
Yeah, I like that. Do you have any favorite places that you love to shoot? It could be venues, but also just could be like, I love trees, I love beach, I love, whatever.
Yeah.
Favorite
I mean,
spots.
anytime I can be outside. Like I personally love
Natural
being,
light.
being outdoor. Yeah. But even just like I'm big on like the environment that I'm creating for my clients. And yeah, like I love the environment of being outside. But I have a couple like favorite venues, that I like shooting at. I haven't done much there because it's a bit of a drive too, but Sundance.
It's beautiful.
Studios.
Yeah, that
I
garden
love how eclectic it is.
There's so
It's a
many
little
cool
funky.
spots
I
and
really like it. I really like Allure on the Lake.
yeah.
They're super great. But yeah, like I have lots of venues I like to shoot at.
Yeah.
I am more in it for my couples.
You find like something you love, or how can I make this beautiful in this spot, or this,
Yeah.
that kind of.
Yeah, like I'll make anything happen. Like
Photog brain starts working.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you start turning.
yeah. It truly
Favorite
does.
moments to shoot. You talked a bit about like right when they're walking down the aisle, when they're back and
Yes.
they're just married, that kind of
Oh, I
moment.
love that moment.
Any other moments that come to mind that are your favorite?
I do really like when they do a first look, when they choose to like write their own vows and share them in that moment. I love how personal that is.
So intimate.
Yeah, it really is. And like it always ends up being like a mix because you're not afraid of all these people that are around, I mean, most people don't like to be on a stage, right? So then you get them into this like intimate space where they can like just talk to their person. And instantly they're like, well, like we met here and I knew it was you because you had like spaghetti on your face when, you were talking and I just couldn't stop thinking about that and like how weird that was. Like it can be so authentic and genuine. So like you get like a different experience, like a different set of vows almost. But yeah, I love when they exchange vows.
I would say write your own vows.
First look.
This is a big day. Spend some time. Write your own vows. Make them.
I love that.
The weddings that do that, they are obviously way more personalized, but everybody who's attending the wedding connects with that. And there's this warm glow and love that is in the air that occurs. As a DJ, I'm always sensitive to the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And of course, weather, heat, cold, they always affect it. But definitely love affects it big time.
Yeah, the
when
feels.
the couple just melts your heart and
Yeah.
they're sharing these personal vows and stories about their dog or whatever,
I
spaghetti on your face,
know. I
and
love that.
things that are so relatable and so real. And then everybody's rooting for that couple. And then it's like, well, I'm definitely going to dance because this is, Mike and Ashley's wedding. We're going to go hard because they're clearly in love. It's that kind of thing. And so write your own vows, make it special, make it unique.
Do you do that like when you're officiating, like you?
I try to
tell
ask the
people
couple.
to-
I really cut back on that because I was starting to get couples I didn't really know to ask me to do it.
Okay.
And I was glad to do it, but I was like, I bet you do have, we still have people reach out that have booked with us. Like, we don't have an officiant. We know you guys have done this. Would you do it? I was like, I'd be glad to, but see if there's anybody in your family, any of your friends that know you.
Nice.
It's really easy to do, to like get the license. And if they know you better and they can make it more special and a better, unique memory, I've realized that it feels almost wrong for me to do it if I don't really know them.
Gotcha.
And it's honestly a little bit more stress on me.
Yeah.
Which,
I've seen you like running back and forth.
It's crazy. I'm
do
DJing
it
and I'm running
all.
sound and I'm
my
playing the music, and
gosh.
it's a little bit
That's
more.
a no for me, dog.
Yeah,
Like, no,
right.
thank you. Oh my gosh.
Any least favorite moments? In DJing, we have a few moments that once they're done, I can, like if everything sounded good at the ceremony, we could hear everything, we could hear the vows, it went well. If speeches went well, intros, those are the big moments for us. Once we start dancing, we're good. Like we got the party, we're good. You know?
Yeah.
Do you have any moments like that are like, these are my least favorite moments because of the stress involved or because of whatever the specific thing about that moment?
You know what? To be honest, I really don't like doing intros.
Like shooting intros.
Yes. Those can be really hard given whatever venue you've got. It's just like, that's a moment of the day that isn't huge for me. I don't know if that answers the question.
No, that's a good
Can you
least favorite moment. It's not your favorite, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because like I think through like, family portraits. Like that can be a little bit like mundane, I guess.
Sure.
Or run of the mill. But but even then, like there's aspects of that I still love. Like I love knowing, I mean really the whole day. I love knowing I'm making treasures for my couples, these like one-time moments that are so important to them. But then also like, once you've been in the industry long enough, like people are not forever. And I know I'm making images that people are going to like truly treasure. Yeah,
it's a family heirloom now.
Yeah.
It's just part of the history of our family.
Yes.
In the future, we'll pass this down to our kids and our siblings and our cousins and everybody.
Well, and the people that are at the wedding too. Like I literally look at every single person in there. I'm like, you're all important because you're here, because they wanted you here. Yeah. So
everyone came together, not by accident.
Yeah. So like that being said, I don't really have a moment of the day that I'm like, if I had to pick something, I guess I'd pick the intros because it can just be kind of like tedious.
People are walking and it's weird.
Yeah, and you always
are
are like, okay, now like come out and then like do your cool thing here, and then they're like, yeah, like tearing it up when they instantly walk in the door and we're like across the room. It can be like a little chaotic, but like I still like enjoy it.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
Like we usually just end up like laughing. We're like, all right, that works. We're doing this now. So yeah, it's fun.
That so much. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing. Sonia from Whiteboard of Photography, is there anything else that you feel like anyone should know about photography, about anything that you do that we haven't covered already?
I don't think so. I think we said lots of things.
This has been great. I've absolutely loved this.
You.
I really appreciate you having on. If couples are interested in connecting with you and getting to know you and having you shoot their wedding or their family portraits, what's the best way they can reach out and contact you?
Yeah, so I have like a contact me page on my website, which is whiteboarderphoto.com. So yeah, that's how they can reach out.
I love it. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. We love your stuff. Come back and see us. We love working with you.
I'd love to.
And this has been the DJ Insider Podcast. I'm Mike from Amplified Events.
I'm Sonia with Whiteboard of Photography.
And we'll see you at your wedding.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Let's party.